Alrighty, everyone. Welcome to I Screamed, You Scream for Movies for Sunday, July 9th. Fuck it, it's a raw feed, and we're doing it live in the midst of the morning. I'm Danny Deskamlaji, and ladies and gentlemen, another box office prediction episode has arrived, as you can see in the title. But unfortunately, I don't have Jeff Bach with me this time around. But instead, I decided and get this guy on my show. And actually, this is the guy I wanted to have on my show in a very long time. Just to talk about him real quick, he was the former podcaster of Cinema Spending last year, and now he is now a senior editor and podcaster of The Direct. Everybody, give it up for David Thompson. Welcome to the show, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Danny. It's a pleasure to be here. We've been talking for a while about getting me on this show, and I've been excited to do it. And I am very excited that Jeff couldn't be here today, so I can fill in here. Love Jeff Bach. He's a great box office analyst. Definitely go follow him over on Twitter. He does great work over on ECR.
He's a must follow. Go ahead.
Yeah. ERC, by the way, not ECR. I messed that up. Exhibitor Relations Co. Now, I'm very excited to be here. Yes, shout out the Direct Podcast. That is the podcast that I host. Thank you for that. And today, I think we have a unique opportunity to discuss a month in the box office that might begin to make things right, I would say, this summer. You know, June was a bit of a letdown, besides Across the Spider-Verse. And July, I think, really could get us back in the swing of things. So thank you so much for inviting me on. I'm very excited to be here.
Yeah, no problem, man. It is an honor. I love you so much as a celebrity, and I just can't wait to get into box office. So let's go ahead and start. So yeah, tell us about yourself as we get started, just in case the listeners that again every day don't know who you are.
Yeah, sure. So just recently, I started working full time over at thedirect.com. I'm a senior editor over there. I've been doing the Direct podcast over there since it's been about a year, over with Matt Rimke. Pretty much on the Direct podcast. If you want to subscribe to that, we're on Apple, Spotify. We pretty much cover all the universes you love. That's our whole shtick. That's our angle, right? Marvel, Star Wars, DC, and it's expanding. You know, we don't want to just be covering those movies. We're going to be reviewing, we just reviewed Indiana Jones. We're going to be reviewing Mission Impossible. We talk about the box office. That's really, you mentioned Cinema Spending, which was a small, it's kind of really looking back at it, I'm proud of the episode of Cinema Spending that I had. It was short-lived, but it was a great opportunity for me kind of doing a solo pod, like you do here, and really just focusing in on the box office. Now, I cover a lot of things over on the direct.com related to entertainment news. However, the thing that I enjoy writing most about is the box office, is the business side of Hollywood. So that's really what I'm most passionate about writing and talking about, like I will be with you today.
Yep, very fantastic what you've been doing. I love that you're doing the host of the Direct. You're not the co-host. You're like the host, right? Like the senior editor and all that.
Well, yeah. So I mean, my position at the Direct, at senior editor, that's kind of separate if you want to think of it from the Direct podcast.
Okay.
Because I have my role as the senior editor, actually writing articles for the website, and then I do also the podcast. So me and Matt Rimke, we co-host that. I wouldn't say there's no real lead host. We're both pretty much co-hosts on it and are there week in, week out.
That's very awesome, man. I'm gonna start listening to your stuff for sure. I've been thinking about it for sure. I just had never had the chance, so now I'm actually gonna try and invest listen to your show. But other than that, you ready to get down to the fun parts of this episode and what the people expect listening to this episode?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just to recap about last month, I had Jeff Bach on my show. We were discussing on Spider-Man, Transformers, The Flash, Elemental, No Hard Feelings, Indiana Jones. And Strange Month, there were some unfortunate mishaps, misfires, particularly The Flash. We're both so high in this movie. Unfortunately, it didn't came with what we expected. It's the DC brand that people weren't still comfortable to see. Well, not comfortable to see, but not relied. And Transformers, I guess it was doing okay. It still needs to, I think, reach 400. Maybe it'll just be okay. Elemental seems to pick up the pace very good, surprisingly. Very impressive. And Indiana Jones, we're both witnessing right now, it's going to flop. And Eric Weber has even stated about this for months, not months, for weeks. But unfortunately, but Spider-Man Across Spider-Verse is like the true winner of this whole month of June. Which fantastic movie! I saw it 2 times. And anything you want to comment on about June last month, David?
Yeah, I've got a couple of notes. I think Across the Spider-Verse is an amazing sequel. Look, Into the Spider-Verse was a phenomenal audience and critical success. Everyone loved 2018's Into the Spider-Verse, me included. I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, and taking this to a new animated realm with Miles Morales was an awesome decision and great storytelling over there. And Across the Spider-Verse, in many ways, some people think that was even better than Into the Spider-Verse, when Into the Spider-Verse are also some people's favorite comic book movie ever, favorite Spider-Man movie, all these things. And some people thought Across the Spider-Verse was even better. So I think one thing that's really important, speaking of June specifically, and just even in a broader sense, word of mouth is so key. You just mentioned it. You saw Across the Spider-Verse twice. No one really went and saw The Flash twice. Barely anyone saw it one time. And I think with The Flash, it's a very interesting discussion, I guess, is my point here, because there's the whole Ezra Miller element where maybe people wouldn't want to support the movie because Ezra Miller's allegations and arrests and all this terrible PR essentially. And Ezra Miller, by the way, they are the main two characters of the film far and away. So the marketing was a little bit twisted. I think there was some propaganda a little bit with the movie, the Tom Cruises of the world, Stephen King, even James Gunn himself saying, this is one of the best movies right now. We need this in theaters. And I think that was a bit of overkill, where I believe if they had kind of just toned it down a little bit, maybe some people would have been more interested. And I think at the end of the day, Batman's awesome. Batman is my favorite DC character, and Batman's always going to be successful at the box office. This wasn't a Batman film, but Michael Keaton was marketed so heavily in the promotion for this. I'm not sure that ultimately helped in a way, because people are almost maybe a little confused. Is this a Flash movie? Is this like supposed to be Spider-Man No Way Home for DC, right? Or what really is this movie going to be? And the bottom line was people weren't interested. And I'm surprised. I liked the movie okay, actually. I didn't think it was the box office flop and complete disaster that it is not representative of how good or bad the movie is. I think the movie's actually like a 7 out of 10. I think it was pretty good. There's some really bad spots, but a lot of it is fun, but no one got behind it. No one rallied behind it. And that's something in terms of the box office that you need these days, is this momentum, someone rallying, not just someone, many, many people rallying behind a movie and going out to the theater and actually seeing it multiple times, positive word of mouth, second weekend drop, third weekend drop. How significant are those numbers? And for The Flash, it was bad. Look, Indiana Jones is doing poorly, I would say, for how much money was put into the film. It's definitely not a success so far. Now, maybe it's not looking great, but maybe it'll be able to hang out for a little bit of July. But even then, I'm not really confident in that. So June was a letdown. June, I would say, going into the month, I'm sure you and Jeff covered it at the beginning of last month. Going into the month, there was a lot of hope for June. This was kind of the kicking off proper summer at the box office. But now, in my opinion, it seems like July is where we might be able to get things right and really have some big hitters this month.
I agree. I think July is going to kick things back going for sure. Is there any other additional notes you want to talk about in June before we get to July now?
No, I think that's about it. I mean, I would just say shout out Across the Spider-Verse for really carrying the month in terms of performance at the box office, because if it wasn't for Across the Spider-Verse having that July release, almost everything else in June, everything else in June might be a failure, might be looked at as like even Elemental. It had a decent hold, but even then, it didn't really perform well. I would say it performed okay and was able to kind of hang out a little bit. It had that, soft weekend 2 drop. But beyond that, there weren't a lot of positive headlines. Look, I saw No Hard Feelings with Jennifer Lawrence. It's a pretty funny movie, and it did okay, but it also wasn't this big hit. you know,
The
and I think
third weekend dropped pretty significantly big after the second weekend, so I heard it's
it,
surprisingly.
look, I think opening weekend is very important at the box office, obviously. But what's become very fascinating since 2020, I would say, since the pandemic, is how these movies hold, how they perform over weeks and weeks and weeks. And that's really the case study for Top Gun Maverick. And that is the gold standard at this point because it had such incredible legs and such amazing word of mouth. So many people went out to see that movie. And we have not, since that movie, we have not seen one like it since. Now, Super Mario Bros, incredible success this year. Guardians of the Galaxy, a really big hit, but nothing's, and we may never see it. Well, it might be a while until we see another Top Gun Maverick-esque run where it opens really well, but it keeps going and going and going. And that is just so rare nowadays. Like, even if that happened in 2019, it wouldn't have been as such an anomaly as now because gosh, do these movies just fall off so quickly?
Yeah, it's the thing. We are hoping for a speedy recovery for like what 2020 has been through, and so far 2023 this year has been resurging a little well. Except last month was supposed to be the month where everything goes normal as planned, but unfortunately it had some mishaps. But July is definitely gonna hopefully keep its track, and August I'm sure is going to also be a possibility that we get back on track as well. All right, so let's begin the July agenda today. Now just differently, I'm gonna go by like the first week of July and then the end of July because I'm obviously saving the three movies that's we're gonna be obviously covering after each topic, actually in the midst of this episode, because obviously those are the biggest movies of the month that I can't personally recommend enough to remind people when they're what they're coming out with. And this time is no going to be a no flop show, anyways. But yeah, as we begin, so in the midst of recording, we're doing Joyride and Insidious the Red Door is been released, and not to cover those too long because they already just came out, but surprisingly, the Insidious Red Door is going to take this weekend and beat Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, which completely had some small legs. Again, it's the fact. Actually, the fact is because the adult-oriented came out to see more Indiana Jones than the younger audiences, which is the big perspective why. So Insidious, on the other hand, encountered that to a lot of women who wants to see a horror movie and the people, the males that into horror, the horror lifestyle from Brett's the New Flesh podcast himself would say that. But the horror is taken back this weekend, and pretty much that horror movies is a good counterfeit. And Insidious the Red Door, on the other hand, is going to counter very well this month, since it's the only horror movie coming out that is fresh and it's from the franchise of we got from years. So, is there anything you want to comment on on Insidious the Red Door, David?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it looks like it's going to be opening at about 30 million opening weekend, which is great. Look, that film cost, I think, around $15 million to produce, something around there, 15 to 20 million. That's a win. Look, these smaller horror films have been a secret, I would say, of post-pandemic box office success. It hasn't been in comedies, and we've seen a lot of flops, I would say, in terms of the big budget blockbusters. But these horror films, there was the new Scream movie this year. Now we have Insidious, Megan at the beginning of the year, where it's low budget. People like to go out to a theater to see a horror movie. There's something about that. People will sit at home to watch a middle-class film, watch a comedy, let's just say, right? Some of these mid-budget things, some of these, these Oscar season films, like the new Scorsese movie coming out, like Killers of the something Moon. Flower Moon, thank you. With Leo, that looks like a great time. We have a David Fincher movie coming out this year on streaming. There's all these now streaming movies with these big directors, but what's still going out in theaters and performing decently at a low price? Horror flicks, and this is just another example of it. Me personally, I am not a horror person. I liked the new Scream movie. I enjoy some of the I like the Quiet Place films, but Insidious, that's not for me. I'm not going to go out and see that.
I don't love Supernatural as much as anybody, but slashers are the thing. Slashers and like Quiet Place movies. Those are I enjoy. But Supernatural's like
Grounded horror.
Insidious. Yeah,
Yeah.
grounded horror. I just prefer them more. But yeah, Insidious is performing like 30s, which is incredible, and it's already going to make its even money very well in the next couple weeks, or by this weekend. It looks like worldwide it's going to break even very well. So congratulations to Sony, even though they put much marketing into this movie, but they were managed to like get the word out that people knows the franchise name. That's why. So on the other hand, Insidious did very good this weekend, and it's like we don't have the results of the weekend yet, but it looks like Insidious is going to dethrone Indiana Jones, which was supposed to be predicted, but unfortunately, that doesn't seem to be the case. So Insidious is going to take this weekend.
Yeah.
Now, another quick release, Joyride. I heard about this movie being presented at South by Southwest and CinemaCon, critically well received, but audiences aren't buying into this raunchy comedy for some reason. I just wonder why. If you have any explanation, David.
I mean, look, kind of to the statement I just made, kind of seems like a smaller release. Number one, I'm not sure what the studio's expectation was for this at the box office.
It's by Lionsgate, by the way.
Lionsgate, thank you. It's gonna open to probably less. It looks like it's gonna open to less than 10 million. Look, throwing this thing out at the beginning of July when there's competition, I'm not sure what their expectations were, but it goes along with what I was saying. Look, No Hard Feelings had Jennifer Lawrence, and they paid her a handsome sum to be in that film as a giant movie star. Joyride, while it may be a good movie, that is something that you would see on streaming these days. That is a kind of movie that there's a lot of shit on streaming, but even there's some good stuff too. You could see that on streaming, and I don't think there was much of an urgency. I don't think the marketing costs were very high because I hadn't heard much of the film. So, to me, Insidious outperforming Joyride by that significant of a margin makes a lot of sense, right? It's a name brand at this point. Joyride, you don't really know what you're getting yourself into, right? Just based on the title, the names attached, there's a lot of uncertainty there, and I think the audience, just the available possible audience there, I'm essentially saying that the ceiling was much lower for that film, as well as the floor.
Gotcha. Yeah, so that's the case from David. It's one of those movies. It looks like it's just it looks like it's low budgeted, but it's like I guess audiences aren't buying this because at the same time, Insidious came out. It's way more of a bigger IP than that, so perhaps that's why I have nothing else to say. I thought Joya would just do really good from the word of mouth people have been seeing. But it's just
Right.
damning how comedy like this can just not get enough buzz, especially when there's competition. So in that case, Lionsgate should have probably put this in the safe spot, or probably in the midst of June. Well, No Hard Feelings, what didn't came out in that June spot, and Joyride would have probably taken that spot probably if that all else fails. I think it would have done okay either way.
Yeah.
All right, so in this case, by the time the episode gets published, Insidious is getting number one, so it won't be a surprise. Slam doink. But all right, so let's go ahead and touch the end of July. And again, I'm saving those three movies till we get that topic done. But let's go ahead and talk about July 28th, Haunted Mansion. This is a movie I wanted to actually see before the footage was revealed, but then I decided not my vested to go see it. But it is a Disney movie, and it's based on an attraction amusement park or something based on that. So, what do
You've
you
never
have?
been?
No. I mean, I can't remember when the last time I've been to Disneyland or something. It's
Yeah.
been a while, but
Haunted
I
Mansion is an iconic ride at Disney World. I love it. I think there is a connection for a lot of people of, oh, I know what Haunted Mansion is, right? Just based on the ride at Disneyland, Disney World. I think there is, it's interesting. It's kind of like Pirates of the Caribbean, right? It was actually a ride first before it was the movies with Johnny
before
Depp.
it became a franchise. Yes.
Not just gonna have the same success, but similar ideas, I suppose.
So, what I got nothing to comment on this movie at the moment. I just think it's one of those high budget Disney movies that isn't promoted well, and I think it's gonna flop somewhat. I'm sure. Do you have anything to comment on this movie, David, for this projections or something? Because
Yeah, I do.
Box Office Pro is projecting $22 to $32 million opening weekend.
I would say it's going to be in the $25 million range, and I'll give you a couple reasons why. First reason, crowded July, very much so. And you want to talk about, we're going to discuss in a minute, Mission Impossible, Barbie, Oppenheimer. Those are films that each respective studio, Paramount, Universal, and Warner Brothers, not only want to succeed opening weekend, but have legs and live throughout July, the end of July, into August, right? They want to be owning the box office up until Blue Beetle comes out or something like that, and even then that could flop. So in terms of Haunted Mansion, right? I agree with you. Poorly marketed. I mean, there's some big names in the film. Rosario Dawson, Owen Wilson, others. Who is it? Shoot.
Tiffany Haddish, Danny DeVito,
Danny
Ladik
DeVito.
Stanfield, Jamie Lee
Yeah.
Curtis, Jared Leto. I mean, good star cast. I mean,
Yeah. And Jamie Lee
that was the thing.
Curtis.
Those are the cast I bought into those names. I was invested in this movie, and I still decided not to see it anyways. But great castings, otherwise.
Yeah. Pretty big cast. I'm sure a decent budget. I don't see it doing well. My second reason beyond the competition is, why are you releasing it in July? And not for the reasons of competition, but for, why is this not opening in October? I feel
I
like
agree.
way more people would be willing and eager to go see this when it's October, when it's Halloween season. That it's simple. Now, I understand October is a very busy, crowded month. October and November this year, we got a lot of big hitters coming down the line. However, an end of July for Haunted Mansion, I'm not sure what their expectations are for this film. It feels out of place. It feels like kind of the stepchild of Disney films for this year. Kind of like, okay, we got this Haunted Mansion live action, not remake, but live action film. Where do we go with it? We don't really want to keep it in October or November because those are crowded areas. Let's just plop it at the end of July. That's how it feels to me. And I don't think that's a recipe for success for this film, which Disney could use a success. They haven't had a lot. I mean, Indiana Jones right now is failing. Little Mermaid was good at the box office, but not great,
And internationally, it's not doing great, obviously for many reasons, but domestically, it's doing great, actually.
Yeah, to your point, the expectations for Disney live action remakes is spectacular, is phenomenal. It is the top echelon of the box office earnings, and Little Mermaid didn't live up to that, it is what it is for Disney. But Disney is a long way to get back to where they were, if they ever do, to that 2019 year where they had $7 billion movies, which is still unbelievable to think about. And Haunted Mansion almost certainly will not get close to reaching that $1 billion.
Just to add this, it was supposed to come out August 11th when the Marvels was supposed to come out July 28th. Until when the Marvels got moved, they moved up Haunted Mansion to that date. So
that's what I mean. Stepchild of Disney films. It's just like, okay, we're gonna move the Marvels for an actual reason, right? To spread it out a little bit, back up Marvel specifically, and spread things out, because Marvel's going to have a gap now. It would have been a gap from July until May, which is now going to be Deadpool 3. And now the gap will only be, theatrically, obviously there's the Disney Plus shows, November to May, which isn't as wide of a break for Marvel Studios. And that is a strategic move, where Haunted Mansion now just gets put there, and they just are hoping that enough people went on the ride and are interested in going to see it. I guess is it a kids play, like demographically? It's like
PG-13. I want to think it's
PG-13
kids friendly. Exactly.
That I don't know. I'm gonna go see the movie for sure, because I like the ride and the cast looks interesting. It could be good. Who knows? But this movie, Haunted Mansion, is like a 40, 50, 60% on Rotten Tomatoes away from doing abysmally at the box office, because I don't see there being much of a reason to go watch it, honestly, besides the cast and just general interest. But if you put it in right before Halloween, there might have been more of a reason. It would have been spooky season. You would have been in the spirit of it all. And right now, at the end of July, I don't care about going to see Haunted Mansion.
Yeah. If this was an October release, I'd probably give a shit watching it. But in this case, in the summer, not a good idea what Disney's putting out this for. So just to predict the opening weekend, you said you're going maybe 25 million. I might go 20. Why not? Competition and, marketing reasons. And the strategy of releasing this movie is like ideal. So
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe it'll surprise us all and open at, 35, 40. But
I love to be
we'll see.
we love to be proven wrong to see what Disney can do with this. Now that Bob Chapek is out of the picture now, I'm hoping this could like I don't know, strives now Bob Eager's back and I'm not too confident on Haunted Mansion at the moment, but we will see.
Yeah.
We shall see. Is there anything else we should go into? Because I think we're ready to go on to the main course of this episode, and let's go ahead and start because I think you're ready.
Yeah,
So
let's do it.
Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 is upon us as the recording. It's finally coming out early, July 12th on a Wednesday, surprisingly, for which obviously we're going to get into for that reason it'll be. But oh my god, it is Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is going to be here to save the whole cinemas again. And after we saw Top Gun Maverick last year, it was a historical big run in cinema saving non-superhero tactic that we all want to see in a while. And Tom Cruise just does it. And now he's got Mission Impossible coming out. And I predict this long time. It isn't going to be Top Gun's $1 billion. I think it's going to at least look. I have reasons why to believe this is going to be different, but as of this projections, it is on it's on a 5-day release. So according to BoxOffice Pros it is projecting for a 3-day of 65 to 75, and for a 5-day, 90 to $110 million. And I believe it's gonna beat the record of Fallout, which made 64, if I'm not mistaken, or 61. Actually, no, that was War of the Worlds was 64. Fallout was 61. But in this opening weekend, I don't think it's going to catch on Maverick. That's for sure. And
No.
again, I'll have experienced why. And I hope you agree with this. So, Mission Impossible and Top Gun are beyond different. And now, when I say different, I mean Mission Impossible isn't for everybody. It's not like a true art cinema thing, it's an action cinema of the franchise Tom Cruise runs. But Top Gun, on the other hand, has everything a blockbuster has to offer, not just action, but storytelling, characters, drama. It's all that glory in the big screen. It's just so amazing.
Yeah.
The Warner responses was unreal, and that's why everybody went to see it and gives the young generations to go out to see this movie, which is the big question. It was before release. And now that they have, it helped to make it $1 billion besides attracting young, older, oriented adults to Tom Cruise, Top Gun generations, and attracted to the new generations. It's very positive. Now, obviously, will young audiences give a shit on Mission Impossible? I have a feeling no. But I feel like those people that saw Top Gun are going to come out to see this, but not by the same margin as Maverick. I don't think it's going to be $1 billion, but I think it's going to at least inch somewhat a record as a franchise. I feel like it's just going to go through the roof. Otherwise, I'll have to be proven wrong. But it's just probably be one of the best actions, as we got to hear critic reviews, even though critics don't matter, huh? But it is at 99%. How fucking insane. And it's over John Wick. How crazy is that?
I have high expectations in terms of the quality of the movie. I'm going to see it tonight, and I cannot wait to watch it.
Oh, you're seeing it tonight?
I am, yeah.
Holy fuck. I don't even see it till Wednesday, dude.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. Like, this release is so unique. But anyway, I'm very excited to see it. I agree with you. It will not reach the heights of Top Gun Maverick. And I don't think that should be the bar that anyone's setting. That should not be the expectation by any means. But what it will be doing is it will be the highest opening Mission Impossible movie ever. I think opening weekend. Now it's a 3-day and a 5-day, which gets really kind of, it always is a pain in the ass when you're going back in history and looking at the box office and you see a 3-day opening that doesn't quite add up. And you're like, wait, what was that? And then you read more into it. It's like, oh, it's like a weird 5-day release. These always get a little bit screwy, especially with projections and just, covering it in general, because the 3-day opening Friday to Sunday is a lot more cleaner, easier to understand. But when it comes to Mission Impossible, absolutely, the reviews are through the roof. I think there is a lot of Top Gun Maverick rollover that is going to get this thing to new heights and going to be a really smash success, especially over this, 5-day summer opening. Now, how high will it get? I think you're right. There may not be the same demographics as a Top Gun Maverick, but some of them will be the same for sure. In a way, ironically, Mission Impossible, because it's now the 7th film, has a lot more, I guess, attached fans, audience members that have seen Mission Impossible movies, which sometimes can lead to fatigue. But I think in this case, because of Top Gun Maverick, in many ways, people are rejuvenated on the Mission Impossible franchise and want to see Tom Cruise in more of these roles because everyone loved Maverick. It was such a crowd pleaser. It was a joy to go see it in a movie theater. And that's Tom Cruise's whole idea, right? He wants people to go out to a theater and really enjoy themselves, feel as if I needed to see this on the big screen, which I commend him for because there's not that many movies nowadays that do it. So, I can say my prediction for a second, but I think it's going to do really well. I think it's going to be very interesting to see how it performs throughout July, especially when the Barbenhimer weekend happens. But opening weekend, it'll be the highest grossing Mission Impossible movie so far, and it'll be on a clear shot to the moon, I would say. It will not reach the heights of Maverick, but I do think there will be a lot of positive word of mouth where one of the best action movies I've ever seen, quote unquote, right? People are already saying that, and that's going to get people out to a theater in July.
Oh yes, man. Like it's already like what I feel like now this is rated PG-13, unlike John Wick. It's rated excuse me, it's rated R.
Yeah.
So I feel like this is going to even reach way above the record of John Wick. I think it's going to pass all that money John Wick made domestically and worldwide. And this is just already like Tom Cruise oriented PG-13 action stunt flick. It's going to even might have Oscars might consider putting its best stunts, and John Wick and Mission Impossible are going to go at it for like categories. It's going to have the Oscar nom if the stunt coordination of the Oscar category happens, which would be insane.
Yeah.
Just real quick. So the movie did move up 2 days earlier to July 12th. Now I can see why. It's because Oppenheimer next week gets all the IMAX for 3 weeks, and Tom Cruise is very pissed. We heard about that weeks ago or a month ago or something, that he was annoyed about that. He's trying to get the movie theaters around to even book some PLFs and shit. Which look, PLFs are the usual thing, and the BO boys even talked about we need more PLFs, and I agree. I mean, there's got that sometimes you got to like invest more in PLFs for like people that want to see on the big screen. Like there's like so many options that you want to see. I mean, sure, standard's not okay, but like if you want to see on like into the amusing world of IMAX or Dolby or like ScreenX and all these crazy PLFs, I mean, Tom Cruise really wants people to see it for the possible experience. I mean, Top Gun had like IMAX for 2 weeks until Jurassic World took over, which I wish Maverick would have had like at least 3 weeks of PLF or 4. I mean, God. But it is what it is. So, I mean, hey, you know what he even did? He even supported Barbenheimer. I mean, the Barbenheimer products and with 2 tickets with Christopher McGuire, which, others follow in suit as well, which is like, I guess that's his way of like trying to like convince theaters to get more PLS. I don't know. And the question is, I was going to say, does Tom Cruise promoting The Flash could hurt the movie's performance?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I mean, I don't think it's the big juicy story. I think the BO boys talked about that weeks ago, but just a reminder, I don't think it wouldn't. I don't think it would hurt the performance. Trust me. I think the younger audiences might, but the adults, I don't think they'll give a shit.
That's hilarious. That's actually a really funny idea. I hadn't thought of it, but no, I don't think so. That's funny though.
Oh yeah, totally. Is there any additional notes we should talk on Mission Impossible before we get to our prediction on it? Because I mean, I think I covered everything.
Yeah, I'll jump right into it. So I think with Mission Impossible, it's going to do really well. I think moving it up was a smart decision by Paramount. Tom Cruise soaking up some of those PLFs, and I always love to see a movie in IMAX. I'm seeing it tonight, I think in Dolby. This is a much larger topic, but movie theaters are becoming a little more irregular for audiences, right? It's more of an event to go see a movie these days, meaning people are seeing less movies a year. So when you go to see a movie and you're paying big bucks, right, to walk into a theater and pay for concessions and buy a ticket, hell, you might as well be getting an awesome experience. So I agree. There should be a little more premium offerings. And I think that even goes beyond the screens. Theaters should become more premium, I think, in many ways to make it more of an event, right, to go see it. Now, in terms of Mission Impossible, right? This weekend, it's going to have all those sweet IMAX screens and Dolby and 3D and 4DX and whatever else you can come up with. For me, I'm looking at, so if you're looking at just the weekend, Friday to Sunday, now the numbers are going to be weird. I'm thinking it's going to make around 70 million and total out for the 5-day opening. So when it's Sunday and the reporting's coming out, I think the headline's going to be a $95 million 5-day opening, which is a success in my mind. I think it will hit under the 100 million personally. That's just my current prediction. And I think part of that's because the current state of the box office is just not on fire. And maybe this will light it up on fire. But because of all the memes and all of the just positive marketing and interest around Barbenhimer, I'm almost thinking some people might wait a week to head back out to the theater. But that's kind of, nonetheless, I think it'll be a big success. And my prediction overall is a $95 million 5-day opening.
Nice prediction. Now, for me, I'm going to go for a 3-day, I'm going to go for a clean 76. And then for a 5-day, I'm going to say it's going to make 103 for the 5 days.
Nice. Okay,
So
I like that. So over 100.
I'm feeling the guts. Yeah, I'm feeling my gut, but it's not going to beat the weekend of Maverick where it made 126 on a 3-day and 4-day of 160, which broke the Memorial weekend of all time. So I know that's not going to reach the heights of that, but I feel like the word of mouth also is going to surge as well from like these days before the weekend results, and that's going to help a lot. Yeah. Audience-wise, critics don't matter, but critics can still be the part sometimes. But audiences, I think, would love this movie. And just to clarify, I don't know what Cinema Square will get. I think it might get straight A, not an A+, just in case. I mean, who knows? Top Gun Maverick had an A+ last year. It was incredible.
Yeah, I would say it'll probably get an A or an A+. Just based on the reviews. I haven't seen the movie, obviously, but that seems like where it'll go. And man, this is very exciting now heading into these next 2 movies because what a 2-week stretch. Like there's gonna be a lot of people heading out to the theater, and there's gonna be some tough decisions. I think they're gonna had to be made. Right? Which one do I go see? When do I see it? Which one do I go see first? If I'm planning on seeing multiple, and all that factors into the box office, I would say.
Now let's go. I think we're ready to get down to the big movie, to 2 big phenomenons this month. It's the week of Barbenhimer on July 21st. And which movie do you want to talk about first?
Let's say Oppeheimer.
I assume Oppeheimer in the back of your head before we got on the show. But yeah, Oppeheimer. Let's go ahead and get to this. So Oppeheimer is a Christopher Nolan movie, directed, written, and produced himself. You all know the name.
For Universal this time, though.
Yes. So to remind people, he was the director of Dark Knight movies, Inception. Inception is my favorite movie. Interstellar, which people claimed is one of his best films. Dunkirk. And then, gosh, every time I think of him, Tenet was one of the worst movies he's done, and I fucking hate that movie so much. It was one of the worst comeback movies of the pandemic, and it didn't do great domestically. So I wish they could have pushed this back 2021. But no, I don't know if it was his decision or Warner Brothers, but Tenet was a stupid movie overall. I did not love it. But I'm having expectations to hopefully see that Nolan will reach his heights of his improvements because he's an incredible filmmaker, So I don't never doubt him for sure. I mean, I know he's got what it takes to make his audiences very well and satisfied. I mean, Tenet may be the most forgettable film that we can all move on from. But I think Oppenheimer would be a great start as a post-pandemic-ish comeback.
Yeah, no, totally.
Like you said, it's by Universal. So Warner Brothers was the collaboration with Nolan a lot. Or I should say Nolan with Warner Brothers was the collaboration until Jason Kilar has done the date HBO Max release strategy in 2021. That pissed him off. So now he sent himself away from them and now works with Universal on their movie Oppenheimer. And I don't blame him because obviously the whole thing, I agree, it was the dumbest shit ever. Many movies of Warner Bros. Flopped that year.
Oh, yeah.
If that was Tenet, on the other hand, he'd be so damn filing a lawsuit for that. So hard. And imagine if this was Universal, where they don't agree with the 100-day window release and they release it in digital like the next month or so. I bet he'd be damn upset because at this point, Universal needs to stop putting these movies digitally weeks after. I think they should give it like a little in the long run. But in this case with Nolan, I'm thinking they'll keep his promise and just allow this movie to be 100 days in theaters, which I think that's the window he wants this movie to be in. So,
Right.
but yeah, Oppenheimer is a biography film also of James Robert Oppenheimer as a biography about the atomic bomb, which has some cool spectacle. And the fact is, they also dropped this 30-second teaser or something of the countdown in last year's screening of Nope. That got the word of mouth. That got the word, and it's very a good idea. So it was a great way to promote that movie. And now I'm sure like people that even saw the teaser and Nope, and they promote this a lot well from last year. So even on the Universal channel, they would still have this countdown going on. That same trailer, except the days and numbers and all that just goes down. You know. So
Yeah.
Universal is firing all cylinders for Nolan, and this is like a great way to market this movie about the atomic bomb and the countdown. I mean, this looks like a ride for sure. So, anything you want to comment on Oppenheimer and like the projections? Because I would reach the projections real quick. It is projecting 45 to 57 3-day $1 million.
Yeah. Look, Christopher Nolan is back once again. It's interesting. He's with Universal for this go about. Oppenheimer has an amazing cast. Cillian Murphy getting his first proper leading role in a feature film, especially a Nolan film, when he has really been in a lot of Christopher Nolan movies dating back to, I think the first one was Batman
Begins, a Scarecrow.
Yeah,
And
Scarecrow.
then Inception, I believe.
Yep, Inception, and I want to say a couple of others possibly. So in terms of how this movie is going to do, spoiler alert, it's not going to do as well as Barbie. I think Barbie has a wider audience. This is a rated R Christopher Nolan movie.
I agree.
3 hours long. However, my prediction's a little bullish on it. I think it's going to do well for where it's at right now. There's a lot of anticipation for the film. Christopher Nolan's back. The story of Oppenheimer is very interesting. The creation of the atomic bomb and the moral conundrums that come out of that, and just the process of doing it. It looks like a phenomenal film. Amazing, loaded cast. Matt Damon, Robert Downey Jr., Jack Quaid's in it, Florence Pugh, Emily Blunt.
Yeah.
So
many casts.
There's a lot going for it. I do think there's some going against it, where most people that are going to go see this movie are Nolan disciples, and there are a lot of them, right? There are a lot of people that see Christopher Nolan and are going to see that movie opening weekend in all sorts of types of IMAX and, premium screens, because I think the proper way of seeing this movie, people are saying, is 70 millimeter IMAX, which that's how they filmed it. So that's the proper ratio, I suppose. And you have to look those up specifically. There's really not that many of them. I'm a little excited about this opening because when I've looked up tickets in my area for premium screens, IMAX and others like that, that opening weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, they are almost all full.
Yeah, like all same with my local. Same with my local. Actually, my theater doesn't have an IMAX, but have you heard of the brand theater called Imagine?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so it's a franchise that's in Michigan and some other states, but not every state. So it has something called Super IMAX. It's like IMAX, except it's not like an IMAX. It's just like in some locations, the Super IMAX will be wide like this in my location, like this, but not like this as an IMAX.
Gotcha.
But I mean, so what I'm trying to say is when I looked at the screenings on the Super IMAX for Oppenheimer, yeah, it's selling crazy.
Yeah. So
I mean, I think this is the buying thing of where to see this in the PLF. That's the idea of what Oppenheimer wants us to see. I mean, Christopher Nolan wants us to see on the PLF, which is optimal. I'm going to see that in PLF, obviously.
Yeah, I think my tickets. So I will be seeing Barbie first, and then I'm going to see Barbie on the Thursday when it opens. My current plans, and then I think the Saturday, I'm going to see Oppenheimer in Dolby, and Barbie I'm just seeing standard because I don't think that's really.
Yeah, we're going to get to that in a bit, but yeah. Oppenheimer gets to the IMAX for 3 weeks. Again, it pisses Tom Cruise off that he's not going to get all this. It's tough, I know.
So I think with Oppenheimer, just jumping to my prediction, you said, I think on Box Office Pro right now,
45 to 57.
I think it's going to make 60 million opening weekend. I think it's going to outperform that. I genuinely believe there's going to be a lot of intrigue around this movie based on what I've seen for the pre-sales, all in premium screens. The eagerness to go see this in a premium screen, I think, is key. It's not going to do as nearly as well as this movie I'm about to reference, but Avatar 2, Way of the Water. I think that movie does exponentially more than it would have because of all those premium screens and a desire to not only go out to a theater to watch the movie, but see it in the biggest, baddest screen you can find. And I think that's going to be similar here with Oppenheimer, just based on the marketing. That's how it's really being marketed. A lot of intrigue, a lot of mystery. The trailers don't give away anything about the movie. I think you really have no idea how it's going to go. Obviously, there's real life events involved, so you can kind of do some research and reading. But the marketing to me has been very tight-lipped. It's all kind of still mysterious, and there's going to be a lot of intrigue. So my prediction is going to have a $60 million opening weekend, going a little bit above projections, which I think is successful, going up against the juggernaut and Barbie, as well as being R-rated, 3 hours long, and Christopher Nolan's latest film, Tenet, not being a big success commercially, critically, or audience-wise.
I think commercially, not commercially, but I think actually, yeah, commercial, both of them actually, because yeah, they didn't promote much of this movie when it's in COVID, and they shifted around for like 3 times in COVID.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? So yeah, it is. Oh yeah, I want to talk about the demo real quick. So it is for sure attracting older men, and
Man,
the
yeah.
same thing with Mission Impossible. So that's gonna be a tough battle for these demos. I mean, I don't know how Mission Impossible hold up pretty well. I mean, hey, if it gets the crazy buzz and word of mouth, it might hold well. But the Oppenheimer could also with the PLFs, which is the disadvantage. Like these movies have in common. Mission Impossible will lose these PLFs to Oppenheimer. I think IMAX is the most optimal people would see it on, I guess. But
Yeah.
that's gonna be that part of why Mission Impossible could end up not being crazy, but like I think it'll still do great. It's just gonna have like a counter disadvantage for like again, Oppenheimer's not an action movie, which kind of disappoints me, but I'm seeing it regardless. And Mission Impossible is action, so I think the counterfeiting will do okay. I mean, that's a great thing to note. And yeah, it is an R-rated movie. I'm not excited to see the sex scene in the movie. Let me be honest. I don't like watching this stuff. I don't. I'm not a pornography guy. I swear. I hate to put this out in this episode on the raw feed. I just don't. But I'm gonna have to suck it up and just like what? Oh my god, dude. I'm
Okay.
just like, what the fuck did they do with this movie? I thought it'd be rated PG-13, but no, it's not what I
Nope.
expect. All right, well, I don't know how to go on this rambling too much, but yeah. So oh yeah, my prediction. You going with like what 60? You said
60. Yep.
I'm going. Hell, maybe I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 63.
Oh, okay.
For
A
the
little
fuck
above
of it,
me.
why not?
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Is there anything else we should talk on Oppenheimer before we move on to the big love course of this month, which I think it's gonna broad everything and defy the odds.
Yeah. I would say let's move on to Barbie, which I think has immense potential, especially when we talk about different demographics. What's wise marketing where it's if you love Barbie, this movie's for you. If you hate Barbie, this movie's for you, which I think it's so interesting. They spelt it out for people like that in the trailer, but I also might think it might work out because I genuinely felt just as myself personally was like when I saw that I'm like cool, like I felt seen in a way, which I think is really interesting. Like as I'm a 25-year-old man, I'm not necessarily a big Barbie fan, but I am stoked to see this movie because of the cast, because of the director, Greta Gerwig. I really cannot wait to see this one.
It's exciting because yeah, like it's promising. I mean, I didn't want to see it at first, but when the trailer came out, it gave me goosebumps for some reason because of the music. I was excited for that. And
Yeah.
to be honest with you, wow, it's Warner Brothers pulling all stops for this movie, and this is like one of their big films. They could even save themselves the trouble since they had a few misfires with the Flash, House Party, was it Magic Mike, Shazam even bombed. So I mean, Warner Bros. Was supposed to have the great stuff starting off the Flash, but unfortunately, but Evil Dead Rise at least was a big hit and saved himself from Streamo. That's obviously a great thing they made a decision on. Good on David Zaslav. And David Zaslav is firing all cylinders with Barbie, unlike the Flash this time around for many reasons. But Barbie, I can say it's going with all. Okay, look, so I've been tracking pre-sales since yesterday, and man, they're through the roof from Friday to Saturday. Holy smokes! This is going to be like not all women, but men included, because Barbie and Ken is the icon.
Well,
So
let's think about it, right? Okay, so we have a younger demographic of women probably want to see this movie. That's not a very popular demographic that goes out to the box office, by the way. And who are they going to bring? Their boyfriend who dragged them out to Mission Impossible. Their boyfriend who's dragging them out to Oppenheimer. I mean, that's how it's working with me and my wife. We're going to see Mission Impossible. We're going to see Barbie first, which was her choice. It's kind of because I couldn't find it. We mentioned, by the way, the sold out Oppenheimer screenings. I couldn't find an early Oppenheimer screening, so we're going to see that one first. And it is what it is. You give some, you take some. And I think there still is that level, just like working the other way, like Mission Impossible is going to be a good time for both of us. Where I'm also excited for Barbie. There's a younger male demographic that thinks it looks funny at the end of the day. The bottom line is it looks funny, and I'm curious what the plot of the movie actually is, because that, as well as Oppenheimer, is a bit of a mystery. I mean, it's kind of this fish out of water tale, but what's really going on, I can't wait to see.
Oh man, here's the thing. I haven't figured out what to see first, but at the moment, I already asked a friend of mine that I asked weeks ago, and I might see Oppenheimer first. I don't know, but again, I'm still figuring out the process. It's so early to tell which movie I will see first, but just encourage this, everybody. Don't do a double feature because Oppenheimer is like 3 damn hours long, and Barbie's like 2 under 2 hours. So
People will, I think, for the fun of it, and
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I
just to say
would,
you did.
yeah. I was gonna say that you don't have to, but like if you don't mind seeing for like the movie theaters for the whole day, and Oppenheimer's like 3 hours long. I mean, hey, you probably want to go in early in the morning and just catch it, and then
It'll
watch
be
Barbie. Yeah,
I think it'll be one of those things in social media where it'll be cool to say you did it, cool to show it off, and on Twitter, on TikTok, Instagram, like, hey, stepping into this noon showing of Barbie. All right, up next, hopping into this 4:30 showing of Oppenheimer, and kind of being able to say you did the Barbenheimer experience in one day. And that's great for both films. I think the fake marketing, the Photoshop of it all, is awesome for both these
oh
movies
dude,
and the box
yeah,
office.
yeah. And
The fact that
they
there's all
even
these fake posters and Barbenheimer this and Barbenheimer that, that is perfect for not only the box office, but both movies individually, because it makes you want to see both of them, not just one.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Barbenheimer campaign is on fire, and even they have these T-shirts too. I mean, I'm thinking about getting one, just wearing them to these movies. It'd be so awesome. Which I might consider that because why not? It's like a cool thing to do, and I think it'd be awesome. Just have to like see what I can invest to, but it is crazy. Yeah, Barbie is through the roof, which we've been predicted for a while, and it's crazy. So
Yeah, I
I
do want to
never
mention
slept on that movie. Go ahead.
I do want to mention on Barbie. Wow, has this thing just been ramping up and up and up in terms of anticipation, expectations now from the studio. Holy shit. Now, I think a lot of it has to do with Margot Robbie as Barbie, which is like just inspired casting. Makes perfect sense.
Perfect casting.
I think Ryan Gosling as Ken looks great. And also a cast of characters. Simu Liu, Michael Cera is in this movie. Emma Mackey, who kind of looks like Margot Robbie, which is really funny. And the premise looks fun. There's something interesting about it, something unique and different. It's a Barbie movie, but it's not Toy Story. And it's not one of these other kind of live action interpretations of something that's famous, like a toy or a comic book or an animated show now becoming a movie. It's a fun twist on it, right? They're embracing how they are dolls, that they are pristine, that their heels stay off the ground, stuff like that. It looks intriguing. And I think the marketing for the movie has been phenomenal. I think it's the best marketing we've seen so far this year, better than Super Mario Brothers, better than Guardians of the Galaxy, just solely based on how much higher the expectations for this movie now are. And mine are very high. I think a lot of people are going to see the movie in a couple of weeks.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Now just a question. Barbie is in Dolby, I think, but I don't think it's PLF worthy because I think it's just a comedy like that. I don't think it's just worth watching the PLF.
Yeah.
Might as well let Mission Impossible and Oppenheimer battle these PLFs all they want. I mean, Barbie is just not that type of movie to see on the PLF. I just think it's just worth to see them on like just regular screenings,
Well,
So
and I
might as
think
well.
that's good. I think that'll get more. There's a double-edged sword here where earlier I'm mentioning that movie theaters should become more premium, but then at the same time, with a movie like Barbie, you don't really need, like you said, you don't really need to go see it in IMAX or Dolby or 3D.
Unnecessary for
Just
that.
get me in a theater, and I think there is a community, having a good time in a theater with a bunch of strangers. That is a fun experience, especially for a movie like this. It's going to be hilarious. It's going to be a good time. It's going to be really fun. People love the stars on the screen. People love Margot Robbie. People love Ryan Gosling. Will Ferrell's in it.
Dua
I think,
Lipa's in this as well, and she even promotes the soundtrack of the movie. It's very
yeah,
awesome.
and Greta Gerwig is a phenomenal director who's done some great pictures in the past, and I think there's going to be a huge market for this. And the premium screens, based on my prediction, I'm going to give the premium screens. It don't matter. It's not going to matter. And I think Barbie is going to do very well weekend 2 and weekend 3. I think there's going to be a ton of positive word of mouth in this, and it's an easy watch. Compared to Oppenheimer, it's the exact opposite. That's why, part of me wanted to see Oppenheimer first, then get cleansed with Barbie afterwards. At least I'm not doing it in a day. I'm taking like days in between seeing Barbie first. But because Oppenheimer is going to be long, it's going to be probably somewhat sad. The story in a way, it's kind of twisted, obviously. Yeah. And then Barbie is going to be this fun, fresh, hopefully thought-provoking film.
So you're saying I should probably see Oppenheimer first and then see Barbie the next day? Because I think I could do that for sure.
Yeah.
I'm on the boat for Barbie for sure. That's going to win this weekend. Just to say this to everybody, I totally think Barbie is going to win this weekend. But I'm the way you're saying, I think I should see Oppenheimer first and then see Barbie the following day. I think I'll do that. Why not?
Yeah, I'll jump to my prediction. I think Barbie is going to win this weekend significantly.
For sure.
I haven't projected my current prediction for Barbie.
It's projecting 85 to 115 on BoxOffice Pro. It's fucking high. I'll go first just real quick.
And that is very wide, by the way. I want to mention how wide of a range that is. It will shrink as it gets closer.
Yeah. I'm going to think it makes 88. I think, no, screw it. Sorry. 94 million.
Okay.
And then Oppenheimer's going to make what to me? 63.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm going to go for.
So I have it at 60 for Oppenheimer, if you remember. Mm-hmm. And I have Barbie at 105 million opening weekend. I think it's going to make $100 million opening weekend currently. Now that could change. I could maybe change my mind, right? We're still a few weeks out, but sitting here today, I believe it's going to be a $100 million opening weekend. I think the buzz for this movie is only getting higher. And by the way, I mentioned earlier the Barbenhimer of it all, the fake Photoshop marketing, the internet. I do believe that's going to get a lot of people to go out to see both movies. But if a casual person on Twitter just wanted to go see one of those two, it's going to be Barbie. It's not going to be Oppenheimer. I think the demographic is going to be a lot different for the films, which is so fast. This weekend is beyond fascinating because of the totally radically different movies that are opening. It reminds a lot of people of the 2008 July opening of
Dark Knight, Mamma Mia and Dark Knight. Yes. That was really, a different campaign.
Which is really cool. I love that. And this time, it will not be the Christopher Nolan movie on top. It will be the Greta Gerwig movie on top. And I think Barbie will make $105 million opening weekend.
I want to make this prediction real quick. So the following weekend, when Haunted Mansion comes out, you want to know what movie is going to win this weekend for sure? Oppenheimer. I think it would, if it has the great legs and steady holding and PLFs. I think it's going to win the next weekend. I have a feeling something's going to happen, I'm sure. Look, Christopher Nolan, he's going to get it all that, and I'm sure he might remain the superior the next following week, I predict. If not, I won't. Just to put this out, I've been thinking about this. It could happen, I feel like. If it holds steady very well and Barbie drops a little big, then Oppenheimer, in terms of PLFs, I guess, or, I don't know, but I feel like Oppenheimer could make its way to number one the following week when Haunted Mansion comes out. That's for sure. And I'm thinking that could happen at this point.
Yeah, I would probably lean the other way. I could see where I don't think Barbie's going to have that big of a drop. It might, but I just think it's going to be a really good movie. And a lot of people are going to be saying, hey, it's not just a movie about dolls. There's something more there. And it might get a lot of people out to the theater. We'll see. Maybe it'll not be a big audience success and it'll be mixed feelings, and we might see two big drops weekend too. There's a lot of variability. Look, we haven't seen too many movies these days hold very well. And I only think one of the two will have a good hold in between Oppenheimer and Barbie. That following weekend, when it's weekend number 3 for Mission Impossible and weekend number 2 for Barbie and Oppenheimer, will be very interesting to see the data, right? What's holding,
yeah.
what has legs, who's going back for multiple screenings. It'll be interesting.
It's gonna be so interesting. Like those 3 movies are the big things on my top of my list, and the whole month of July, people are gonna invest to see. Other than that, Insidious is a great counter for horrors. Haunted Mansion is the right reason. Competition is too much. So
Yeah.
it's just gonna be a stacked month for sure, and it might have a great way to fire all cylinders to make it a comeback for a summer this year than last month.
Yeah.
So it's a lot to invest. All right, so you're going 105. I'm going 88. No, 94. Sorry.
94, yeah.
Perfect. Perfect.
I'm high on it, man. I'm high on
Oh
the Barbie
man,
train. I think
I'm
it's
on.
gonna
Me
do it.
too. Me too. I think it's gonna do it too. Even if I have to see Oppenheimer first, heck, I'm still on the right. The Barbie's gonna win. Just
Yeah, take
again,
that Barbie shower. Get cleansed with
I'm gonna
Barbie
try. Yeah, yeah,
afterwards.
yeah, yeah. I'm gonna for sure. I'm gonna decide either way, but we'll see. But yeah, before we end this things off, I did this whole top 5 winners and losers, but instead of that, we're gonna just say which one will have the highest domestic top 5 or something. So instead of like winners and losers, we're gonna just do like which movies will be top 5 domestically, number 1 to 5 or something. Because let me
Okay.
see.
Oh,
Let
for
me
the
see.
month?
Yeah, for the month. Mission Impossible, Oppenheimer, Barbie, Insidious, Joyride, and Haunted Mansion. I think those are top 6.
So
6
for like,
movies.
so you're basically not in the month of July, but once their entire run at the box office is over, essentially, like which
You mean
movies?
July? July, sorry.
Okay, so only in July, because that would give
Only in July.
advantage.
Yeah, only in July. Like top 5, top 6, the highest domestic. Instead
Okay,
of like winners and losers, not the whole year, because I did that whole winners and losers last month with Jeff Bach.
okay.
So I'm gonna go. Actually, you can go first. You're the guest of my show. So what's gonna be the top 5 and top 6 highest domestic openers?
I would say for July, just for the opening weekends.
No. Oh no,
Oh,
just like at the end of the run, let's say for the July.
okay. So let me just get one thing clear. So are you saying that the money that these July openings make within the month of July, or they open in July and I'm taking into account their entire domestic run?
Their entire domestic run, for sure.
Okay. Shoot, man, what's gonna make more, Barbie or Mission Impossible?
I can
Uh
I can go first if you want, but if you still want to go first, you can.
I'll go first. I can come up with it. I would say I think Mission Impossible might make more than Barbie still. So I'll go Mission Impossible. I'll go Barbie number 2, Oppenheimer, Haunted Mansion, and then Insidious. I suppose. I think that top 5 works for me. I think that'll probably be how it works out. I'm not sure how Mission Impossible and Barbie will shake out. It depends on which one kind of catches fire. I think Barbie might be that sneaky one that just really catches fire, but hard to bet against Tom Cruise right now in 2023. So that, yeah, I'm pretty confident with that top 5.
Yes, those are great picks. Those are similar picks, but I'll just say them anyway. So number 1 for me, I'm going with the same route. Mission Impossible is the highest domestic. Barbie, Oppenheimer. I'm gonna go sit on a route instead of Haunted Mansion. I'm gonna say Insidious, just
Okay.
in case
Yeah.
the legs of the competition. But horror is a great counterfeit. And number 6 is going to be Haunted Mansion and 7 Joyride. That's all I
Yeah.
got, really.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
That's all I got. So, wow, that's covers the whole month of July. I mean, it was quick as expected, but man, it's gonna be awesome. Mission Impossible is where I'm gonna be watching starting next. I mean, my last movie I saw was Indiana Jones, so
Yeah.
Mission Impossible
Same.
is gonna be a great way to get things back on track. And expect my review of Mission Impossible, let everybody to be dropping later this weekend, possibly. Other than that, is there anything else we can discuss in the matter, David, before we get off the air?
No, I don't have much else. But hey, if you want to, listeners out there, if you want to hear me again, I'm on the Direct podcast. We post every Monday and Wednesday right now. Wednesdays are devoted right now to Secret Invasion, the new Marvel Disney Plus series. We talk box office every once in a while. That's kind of my whole element on the show sometimes on our Monday shows. We'll be talking it a little bit this Monday, talking about Mission Impossible because it is coming out this upcoming weekend. But yeah, go check it out. Check out thedirect.com. I write a lot over there, do a lot of editing, all that good stuff. We cover a lot of this content, especially these big budget franchises and movies that everyone seems to love. So, Danny, thank you so much for having me on this show. It's been an
Thank you so
absolute
much.
pleasure.
It's
Yeah,
so
of
awesome to
course.
have
This has
you.
been a
I'm
great
so glad
time.
we got this to work.
Yeah, we'll have to do one of these box office previews again. It's been a lot of fun. I like
It's
looking at
very
it.
fun.
I like looking at it holistically. It's a good time.
Oh, for sure. If anything, I'll let you know. Otherwise, everybody, to the new listeners, David's listeners, and new listeners, follow. Actually, new listeners, follow David Thompson at the Direct Podcast. Check out his website. Everything is going to be in the show notes of the episode, so you
Thank
guys
you.
can check them out. And as for me, the new listeners and David's listeners, as I track the buzz, if you're listening to this episode, if you made it through this episode and invested to listen to my show, follow and subscribe to whatever you're listening on. I'm on YouTube as well. So comment, like, subscribe, smash that like button. I'm pointing it down. Hit the bell for when my episodes drop to give you guys the update. If you guys would prefer seeing my face, David's face, and other guests included. And follow me on Twitter at ISUS4MPod, TikTok on U Screen for movies. I post audiograms, etc., etc. It'll be in the show notes. My email's open at deskamlaji@gmail.com. Share me your predictions and share me your thoughts on which movie you'll go see first. Barbie, Oppenheimer, your top 5 highest domestic overalls. Anything. But the Oppenheimer is going to be the one. The Barbenhimer is going to be the one that you probably guys want to email me about. But either way, you can reach me on these questions and all that and predictions at deskamlaji@gmail.com. Also, leave me a 5-star review on Apple and Spotify. The Apple podcast is the one that really matters. It will gain new listeners to find my show, make things interesting and all of that. But leave me a 5-star review if you're enjoying this episode. And yeah, David, I think that covers it. I think we've done it. And I don't think there isn't left to say, except for until next time, I'll be screaming you all at I Screen, You Scream for movies. Nailed it.